We have a lot to do, and we're doing this together as Republicans. And it's something that many Republicans have worked together for a number of years, and we're aiming towards the summit. We're really starting to get to the higher altitudes where we can actually make some really great things happen for our state. The governor decided on 5 measurable outcomes. One of those is net personal income, money actually in your pocketbook. The next one is net private sector jobs. Third one is educating our children, making sure that 3rd graders, that we have the ability to read at 3rd grade. And unfortunately, 24% of Kansas kids at the 3rd grade level are not proficient. And when that happens to you, your whole future closes down on you. Another item in it was looking at making sure that all kids, as they come out of Kansas schools, that they're college or career ready, so that they're part of that next generation and part of our future. And then finally, looking at childhood poverty. How's this really, it's kind of an economic way of looking at the health of the family. This year, we are now 1 year into it, and we can see that we've created 11,000 new private sector jobs in the state of Kansas, a net increase. And it's not because that we are creating them as government, it's that you are creating those jobs, and we're trying to make sure that the environment is there so that Kansans can grow the way it should and the way that all of us expect it to. We've been working on a lot of government reorganization as well. Last year, we eliminated 2,000 positions from state government that were unfilled at the time. Another 1,000 people have taken a voluntary buyout from Kansas government. So now what we're doing is we're actually trying to make Kansas government smaller, more efficient, focused on its core priorities. Economic growth is the second item in the governor's agenda, and that involves the governor's new tax plan. How can we grow this state? And when you go and you look across the United States, the best states that grew both during the boom years, which is when we failed, we lost an entire decade, we now can go and look at who's doing the best in the very difficult years, in the lean years that we're all in. It is those same states. It is the states that do not have a personal income tax. And so how are we going to get us there to getting rid of the income tax is the big challenge. It clearly has a very strong opportunity for the state to grow jobs, and growing jobs make more taxpayers, get more people into the system. And so when we look at this, the governor has looked at the current tax system. We're at 3 different rates. The highest rate, 6.9%, going down to 3.5%. Plus, we have a whole variety of very complicated deductions, tax credits, etc. Many of these are not used by people. For example, there are small business tax credits for health insurance, supposed to stimulate that. Very few people actually took a hold of that. There are a whole variety, dozens of these things in the tax code, and what we're doing is we're kind of creating this social engineering within the tax code. Wouldn't we be a whole lot better off if we get rid of a whole bunch of little tiny deductions and then just cut the rates across the board? The next big issue that the governor needs us to address is the issue of school finance. And so what the governor is proposing is a simpler plan. Basically, what we will do is we will guarantee that every school district in the state of Kansas will be as good, if not better, under the governor's plan. So let me repeat that again. No school district will lose money under the governor's proposal. And that's very important. We're going to be able to put another $45 million into that school finance plan and direct that directly into the base education and the base state aid, the thing that most people are taking a look at. And then we can focus on that. It also gives an opportunity for counties, if Johnson County wants to spend additional funds on that, then they can make their own decision and make their own decision with a vote of the people to increase their taxes if that's what they want to do. Even if that happens, we still have to equalize and protect the poorest districts across the state, and there is a mechanism to do that. There's also the issue of health care. Kansas leads the country in opposing Obamacare. The new announcement that I have today here is that this morning, former Attorney General Ed Meese in the Reagan administration, I served in that administration, and the Cato Institute, and I signed on as for an amicus brief before the Supreme Court today, and that's filed today on overturning Obamacare. And on this particular issue, and we're going to have a couple more as they come due, this is when the deadline hit, but one of the things that this requires is under the current law, under the Obamacare law, we have to dramatically expand the number of people on Medicaid and provide a whole bunch of different benefits and services rather than outcomes. And if we don't make this dramatic, giant expansion, we lose the entire Medicaid program that 400,000 people rely on. And having that sort of draconian stick out there is clearly unconstitutional for the states. It takes away the state's ability to manage its problems overall. In looking at Medicaid reform, we've got to do that now. It's very fragmented, as I explained to you before. The federal government has also announced that they're going to cut $720 million out of Kansas Medicaid over the next few years. So we have no choice but to do it. That's a pretty big set of agenda items overall, but they're ones that we can accomplish, and we accomplish this as Republicans.